Silly.
Dreams and desires, sires. Episode one. What's the deal, family? What's the word? What's the word? Dream Wise and DRAY Wise is here for another one. Look, today we
Not
want
another one, the first one in
a
a
first one.
very long time.
Yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful thing, and kudos to you, babe, because back in the day, we used to build on hot topics and things of that nature that actually can help the family move into another understanding of this world and who they are divinely. Um, what was your quote back in the day? Heal your relationship with self to heal your relationship with others. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, and
I knew I had it. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
still the tea. That's still the ultimate message.
So shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. Today we talk about the eclipse, and what it actually means symbolically, spiritually, when darkness meets light, when darkness meets light. Say what's up when y'all are in here. And if y'all got any questions, leave the questions in the chat, baby. We here. What's up, Pineapple Sage? Ads Gallery was good. What's up, K Smith? Yeah, it go down, it go down. So this day kind of sprung up on me. I ain't gonna lie to you. Because the Lionsgate 8-8, we had a conference, and oh, lo and behold, an eclipse is happening in the same birthday month. Yes, Dreamwise birthday. Um, and it's been a very symbolic month as of lately. Just dealing with all the energy and the different ideas that's coming up in the fold. So what D-Ray and I wanted to do was explain or give you the deeper understanding of looking at this eclipse from a metaphysical lens. See, a lot of times what happens is we try to make the event outside of us bigger than something that's inside of us or something that we could just see as a sign and a symbol from spirit. It's the Batman call. And when you see this Batman call, you got to understand the language that is speaking to you in order to know how to move next.
I even think us being here right now is a part of the eclipse energy. I think us finally taking the step to create content together, to be on camera together, to share space together is a part of the eclipse, which is why I think it is so important. Y'all, we have been talking about making content together for a while, at least since the beginning of 2026. Now we are 8 months in, and finally on the day of the eclipse, making up in our minds, okay, this is something that we need to do. And I think that is kind of representative of the eclipse energy, right? So if y'all don't know, what is happening in an eclipse is the moon, the earth, and the sun are all getting in alignment, right? They are all the sun for this specific total lunar eclipse. What is actually happening is the moon has entered between the earth and the sun, forming this straight line. And so for me, whenever an eclipse happens, I like to think of it as an alignment between the mind, the emotion, right? Or the subconscious, or the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and then our physical reality being the earth.
Yeah, and it was funny last night as D-Ray was aligning me in the bedroom and she ride me and she, oh yeah, we should do a video. And I'm at my wheel at my mercy end and like, yeah, we should do a video. And she's like, oh yeah, we should do it. Yeah. Oh, dreams and desires. Yes, episode 1.
That's what it felt like to get you to this point. That's what it felt like to get you to this point, because Dream has felt like
the bedrock, Flintstones, baby.
The bedrock works, ladies. Okay, even though Dream and I have been rocking beds for years,
God.
all the time, all of 2026, and we
Everywhere,
just now are here
everything,
now today.
all at once. The movies, Spider-Man, X-Men, shit. Doomsday is coming out, and you know she dropping that bomb on your boy.
You are so silly.
No, but that's good, babe. The eclipse does represent something deeper in alignment, right? And I think one of the aspects of knowing the darkness out of light is understanding energies. So one of the deeper energies that we have between each other is this darkness, as you can see, the dark goddess, and light, or feminine energy and masculine energy. So when you just understand the law of gender, right, from the law of Tahuti or the law of the Kabbalion, essentially what is actually representing is energies, two different energies, and how these energies actually become one balanced uh, um, situation, one balanced union. So what we want to do today is give you the perspective of dark and light, masculine and feminine, chaos out of order, and how we coexist and create a divine, fun, balanced, unique, interesting union. Because when we was first getting together, you know what I'm saying, it was a challenge. We was both in our spiritual work. And again, you know, as you're in your spiritual work, stuff starts to reveal itself in the surface. And these things were just showing aspects of you that you needed to work on. So for in DRAY's situation, right, she's seeing somebody like me being kind of in order, real, thorough, wake up 5 a.m., go to my job, do this, do that, you know what I'm saying? Just handle real live business. It's a breath of fresh air because, you know, a lot of times some of these niggas don't really have that kind of gumption or that kind of energy.
And don't. I will say, like, you are absolutely a breath of fresh air. You are absolutely necessary, and a great reflection in my life of what I was needing or wanting to embody more of at the time. I was, when we first got together, not, I was going with the flow, right? Not like in relationships with other people, but I was, you know, kind of just moving through life in a sense. And so seeing you be so structured, be so orderly, and be so disciplined definitely sparked something inside of me that was already there that I needed to really cultivate and nurture. And prior to you, of course, guys are trying to talk to me and things like that, but I was so uninterested because they had nothing going on for themselves, right? They had no order, they had no structure. I really felt like in previous situations or connections or talking with people, I felt like I needed to like mother them. And that was a complete turnoff for me. I was like, I wanted someone who I can learn from, look at, someone who can reflect something divine and sacred to me, that divine masculine energy. And so, absolutely, when you started presenting that, I was like, okay, I need to know more about this. Y'all, Dream was so structured and disciplined and handling his business, y'all. When we were dating and talking, I was getting off of my job at like 9:30, 10 o'clock. He already sleeping in the bed at this time. And that took some getting used to for me because I'm like, what? Like 9:30, 10 o'clock, you in the bed? Like, who does that? Right? But I respected it because he would tell me, like, I got to get to this school at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching 60 kids at a time. Like, I don't have time to be sleepy or tired at work. And I just really appreciated that discipline, right? I appreciated that light. And so when we're talking about light versus dark, masculine versus feminine, and we're talking about ego versus mind or conscious mind versus subconscious mind, what you were actually displaying at the time was you had got your ego, your consciousness, your light in alignment with your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, right? You weren't, what do they call it? What's the word they call it? Like when a person is like double-minded. Like you're saying you want this thing, but your actions are not lining up with it. And so that's a major thing that the eclipse actually shows us as well. It's like, how much do you really want what you say you want, right? Because our desires, that comes from the subconscious, the instinct, right? The feminine aspect of ourselves. But our willingness to be disciplined, to be structured, and to do the work to align with it, that comes from the sun part of ourselves, the conscious part of ourselves, the ego part of ourselves that says, I'm going to do this, 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 and this to manifest this unmanifested, right? This desire that is still dwelling in the spirit. Yeah. And so I appreciated that about you. And I truly feel like being with you, observing your reflection, helped me to bring my manifestations, fully online.
Yeah, no, that's fire, baby. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you, because one of the things that I learned from you is, this is before we got together, she would always invite me out to do things, fun things, right? And, I was in my bag of just like, nah, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. But she would invite me out to the club, the movies, this, that, and you know what I'm saying, I would partake in particular adventures, and it would open me up or enliven my spirit to understand that, look, I am having a human experience. I got to let my hair down, fun. Right? And I think I was running from that aspect of me just based off of me falling in limbo with the drugs, the abuse of drugs, the abuse of alcohol, the abuse of ecstasy, kind of put my brain on like, all right, on timeout. Like, hey, you don't want to do.
You did not show up to my I want to say it was my 22nd birthday. I was having a 22nd birthday, right? Y'all know how it is, where you get a section and you got this place rented out. Excuse me, a hair. Uh-oh. You get this space rented out. I did that at a club, had a nice little section, bottles, all the things. And I invited you and you did not come.
Hey, nigga. True player never.
But you know what? I'm glad you did not come. Because I was totally lit, right? Okay. And I wouldn't have wanted you to see me in that light. Okay. Not that I was like wild or doing something, but I was on my level, right? And the reason why was that morning of my 21st or 22nd birthday, my uncle, my mom's twin brother, had a stroke. So literally on my birthday morning, I will never forget, it was a major shift. On that morning, my mother busts in the room, right? I had just graduated from college a few months prior. My mother comes in the room. She's like, get up. We got to go to the hospital. Your uncle just had a stroke. And so I spent the whole day at the hospital, really questioning if I was going to actually continue to have this birthday party that I had already planned and sent out and all of that. And so, my mom and family was like, Desiree, go ahead and do it. Like, celebrate. It's still your birthday. And so because I had this emotional trauma happening, I probably took a shot too many and I had to get home. So I was glad that you did not come. And I'm glad that we still made it to this place in our lives right now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's fire. So the question is, do opposites really attract? Do opposites really attract? And what I want y'all to do, family, in the chat, what's up, y'all? What's good? Who else snuck in? What's up, Memphis? Curbs, what's good? Ashley, bang. It go down, check. What's good, Sleuth? Who else? CC, what's happening?
Y'all.
What's up,
Don't
Titus?
call me Unc. What's up, Titus?
Mystic Philly, yeah, go down, Bobby. Leave questions for us so we can respond to them
and engage with us, y'all. Like, yes, this is Dream and I having a conversation, but we really want to talk to y'all. And that's what we are building right now in this new venture that we're taking on, Dreams and Desires. We want to really support y'all in being able to have sacred love, sacred connection that is grounded and rooted in your spirituality, in your wellness, right? We want to show y'all holistic love and relationships, right? And so that comes from y'all sharing your thoughts, sharing your perspective, and us building on it. So we're glad to have y'all here. Shout out to y'all.
Okay, so do opposites really attract? And the question or the answer to that is just like we said, they can attract, but it's going to take some work, some work. And one of the biggest aspects of the work is understanding each each gender, right? Because as men, we understand we carry it a certain way, we move in a certain way, and we move in a certain light. But if you're not here to study the goddess, study the feminine, then essentially you're fucking up.
Mm.
Because that's a big part of your spiritual walk down here. When in Atlantis and Lemuria, you was one being, an androgynous being, an etheric androgynous being. And this being didn't have no gender.
Mm.
In order to understand yourself, you had to split into two. And now you see you chasing the cat, you moving in a particular aspect of polarity, opposites. And the biggest game or the biggest trick is the media, the mind control, telling you that you don't need nobody.
Mm.
Like, nah, don't put up with that. But you came down here to do this great work. You came down here to move in that space they call love.
And I think it can be challenging to really surrender to exploring that opposing force or that opposing energy, right? Because you're looking at a person or an archetype or an energy, and it could be foreign, especially if you were, for example, like me. My dad was an absent father. He was like a weekend daddy. You know what I mean? So that shaped the way that I perceived masculinity. That shaped how I perceived light, right? The sun, ego, right? In fact, I think, a part of me felt like my dad was very like self-centered and lacked the balance, right? Lacked understanding how his actions would impact my moon, my subconscious, my feminine energy. So it can be challenging to do the work to be able to figure out how to create that balance and create that alignment. Remember, when we're talking about eclipse, we're talking about the sun is here, the moon is here, the earth is here. So all three of these celestial bodies representing something so powerful and important inside of us aligning, right? And so when you're so used to things being out of alignment, when you're so used to opposites not being able to balance out, right? Those things impact how you actually show up in relationships. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
How did you, in our opposites, right? Because Dream and I, though we look great on this camera together, we love each other deeply. There are some very key things about us that we differ, right? So how were you able to learn, embrace, and still, have to continue to study me, the moon or the feminine that is in your life? Like how have you done that for these 11 years that we've been together? And how do you continue to do it for the rest of our forever?
I think one of the biggest aspects, just being honest, is me kind of knock or hitting my head against the wall in other relationships. You feel me? Not really understanding the feminine, not understanding why they don't see it my way, and just understanding that the goddesses or the divine feminine energy is completely different than a man. So at a younger age, you don't really get it. You like, hey, what's like? Nah, you should see it this way, right? And nah, we should do it like this.
And you still have a lot of that energy, okay? You still have a lot of like you be trying to get me to understand your perspective, your light, how you see things.
Yeah, I can see that. I think the difference is now I lean into more of a spiritual s- lens instead of like more the logical pursuit in the aspect of how it's moving and pushing it. Then you feel me?
Mm.
So as you grow into um partnership, you do have to step back and say and understand that you don't own nobody, because a lot of times with guys they try to possess or claim that they need to do it this way or else.
Mm.
But everybody's different, everybody's their own universe. And I think if you can't move in the space of just enjoying a person for who they are
Mm.
and not necessarily trying to change them and conform them to what you want to see fit, then if you can't do that, then you definitely don't need to be in a relationship.
Mm.
Because again, it's not what you think it is, right? It's always not what you think it is. And y'all know, y'all out there, y'all been in relationships. I probably had situations where like, dang, it's just these few things.
Mm.
And if they get these few things right, then I'll be good. But them few things is actually big things that's actually showing you something that you might need to address within yourself.
Mm. So you're saying you had to learn by way of realizing that sometimes another person's perspective, sometimes another person's viewpoint can be just as valuable as yours, right? Like it doesn't just have to be your way or no way at all. You've had to learn to surrender control and embrace the opposite side. And I think that's necessary because the opposite side shows you aspects of yourself that maybe you suppressed or you maybe ignored, or maybe your childhood experiences did not allow you to embrace. And so, what I would say from my perspective, looking at you, um, wow, I've had to, one, what has allowed me to embrace your perspective is how disciplined, consistent, and this is going to sound funny, but like results, right? Your ability to get results, your ability to manifest, your ability to bring things into fruition, like these supplements. I remember when it was just an idea, and now like they popping all over TikTok and things like that. It just showed me like, okay, the light that he possesses, it's actually fruitful, right? It actually turns into something, right? Your drivenness, your focus, your intentionality yields results that are beneficial to you and to me.
So what you're saying is you're calling me a trick.
Stop it.
You calling me a trick. You heard that? Oh God damn.
Not a trick.
She said, yeah, I just knew you was getting to the bag and I just needed a piece
I
of
just
that
knew
too.
you were taking care of business. And listen, I'm not saying tricking because I don't the tricking I don't think in those types of ways. But I do think that as a man, embodying that light, embodying that sun energy, what you project needs to create. Like when we look at the sun outside, the sun is what makes the trees grow, right? The sun is what makes the fruit and vegetables and gardens bloom. The sun is what brings things to life.
Right.
So if your light, if your sun, if your masculinity is not creating anything, yeah, that's probably going to cause some sort of issue, right? So I think I always had my own ambitions, manifestations, and things that I desired, right? I think being in partnership with you and observing your reflection, letting you lead, right, has helped my things, be amplified and flourish and grow. And I think it's just a part of that, divine dance. I also think it is important to know when it's time for the moon to shine and when it's time for the sun to shine. That's the beautiful thing about life, right? Like the sun is up for its amount of time, the moon is out for its amount of time and it does its thing.
Yeah.
That's just, what is so necessary.
Appreciate that
Unapologetically.
I thought it said finger. I was like, oh shit, it's going down in this bitch. Goddamn. I see y'all in here, family. What's good? What's up, Iman? What's up? What's good? I appreciate that, Nikki. I do. Yeah, shit.
Thank you, Vicky Love.
We gotta keep it tight and tight. Let's we're gonna answer some questions in a minute, y'all. What's up, Wayne Chandler? What's good? Um, yeah, no, you're right, babe. I mean, it is a thing. Like, what I can just remember is everybody around me, and this might sound crazy, but all my hood partners is manifestors. I cannot lie. I seen niggas manifest car lots, starting with one car, flipping that one car, and then flipping into 3, 5, 10 cars, and having a car lot in the hood, just hood nigga shit. So essentially, I think it is a thing when you do grow up in these kind of impoverished environments, and essentially pressure makes a diamond. So that pressure that you feel at a very young age becomes natural to you, I guess, right? It becomes something of your identity, and I believe that's why subconsciously a lot of these people out here that are like trust fund babies and stuff of that nature, they want to go through their ritual aspect of this thing, or their rites of passage, in the form of earning their stripes and going back to the hood, or you claiming to be a hood nigga or strong or whatever, just based off of what it does build inside of you. It builds inside of you an invisible energy that sometimes turns into masculine energy. It don't got to be certain divine masculine energy, but it can be a certain thoroughness about you that you're gonna go out and get it. You're gonna hunt. You feel me?
I'm glad you said that, because that is the when darkness meets light. That is the when darkness meets light, right? Like, darkness can be looked at as the challenges, the adversity, even if it's not something negative, even if you're venturing into something unknown, right? Like, I remember, y'all, when I got my first PE job, head volleyball coaching job, it was my first year actually teaching. Dream, Mr. Light over here, Mr. Logic, because light is also logic. Mr. Logic over here is like, no, Desiree, I don't know. Usually first year teachers being a varsity head coach, that's not something that's common or whatever. But I was so much in my manifestation, moon bag, anything is possible. We went out and we made it happen. But I remember when I first was offered that job, I was scared. I was like, this light, this manifestation that I've been wanting is finally come to pass. And something inside of me almost told them people I did not want the job, right? Y'all, because they were telling me, you're going to have to fundraise. The girls ain't won no games in like 3 seasons. And this is Houston ISD. It's a whole nother beast. Like, there was all of these thoughts that people were projecting that could be looked at as darkness, or that could be looked at as like fear. And I was nervous about it. So darkness represents uncertainty. It represents the unknown. It represents venturing into uncharted territory. But the darkness becomes light is when you go into it, right? When you venture into the unknown or the subconscious mind, things are revealed to you, right? You come into light. So when you say people wanting to earn their stripes, people wanting to do the work, people embracing challenges because they know it's going to awaken and enliven another part of themselves. So it's very deep. And I think our relationships are a beautiful reflection of this energy. Darkness turning into light, or light meeting darkness, and that impacting your reality. One of the main reasons why Dream and I want to talk about relationships, love, spirituality, and what that looks like when you come together is because we know when darkness feminine energy, spiritual energy, subconscious energy meets light, masculine energy, conscious mind, intentional energy. We know when these two come together, we get the earth representing manifestation, meaning birth, meaning heart, meaning the physical experience of something divine.
What would you say is the biggest trials that you can see from other women that are having a hard time finding a mate or attracting a mate? What would you say is their biggest hiccup, if you will?
Wow. I would say a major hiccup for women in,
Talking to the mic.
I would say a major hiccup for women finding love and connection that really works for them is a lack of self-awareness, right? Or on the opposite side of that, but still in the same realm, being so attached to how they see themselves, what they believe about themselves, what they think is true for their lives, that they don't allow themselves to experience love. They don't allow themselves to experience wholeness, right? And so the lack of self-awareness oftentimes makes women attract somebody and they're like, what is this? Why is this person showing up? Right? And they may, reject the idea of a person. They may feel like they're repeating an old pattern, but all of that is happening because they're not understanding that this person is reflecting something inside of them. And so when you don't have that self-awareness, you don't know the inner work that is necessary to have a love and a relationship that really serves you. And on the same wavelength, I know so many women that are so self-aware, so set in their ways that they don't believe that they can change, that they can grow, that they can let down the armor. They don't believe that they can become a different woman that is able to actually hold love and relationships. Yeah. And I would say for me, I was very deep in getting to know myself better when we got together. I was meditating every day. I was praying. I was doing my work. I was really trying to create a better relationship with myself. I had literally just came out of like an identity crisis. And I was like, well, who the hell you want to be then, Desiree? What do you want to do with your life? And because I was in that place of really looking at myself, when we got together, it was easy for me to be able to say, okay, this is a flaw of mine that I need to work on that may cause a hiccup in our connection. And what I appreciate about you is you grew in your grace, in your empathy, in your understanding of the process of growing and of healing. And you understood that there is no such thing as perfection in a relationship. There was things you needed to work on. There was things that I needed to work on. But that started with us being aware of ourselves and being willing to do the work together.
Yeah, definitely.
What about you? What do you think the men are struggling with when it comes down to finding connections, good, healthy connections that they could possibly really nurture and lean into?
I would say I would call it lower nature problems. Just basically, lower nature addictions. You see what I'm saying? Because again, I think I started really developing my divine masculine energy when I started to understand energy and understanding my energy, especially my sexual energy, which is your creative energy. So once I started understanding that, you don't necessarily go out giving your stick to everything walking and moving because you're trying to, run up numbers or have some kind of ego of I'm the man, right? It's more so about you falling into a deeper sense of self, knowing thyself and honoring where you do place your magic stick. Hand me them books right there. All of those books.
Jeez.
Yeah, all of them.
Jeez. All of this.
Yeah.
All, man,
Not the
I ain't
panic
giving
book.
you all
Well,
of that.
yeah, just those. Yeah, these. Yeah. So some of these books have been able to help me and assist me
You want me to hold some?
in the aspect of
Be a book model.
in the aspect of understanding like ancient sciences and ancient ideas of the serpent fire power and what it actually entails inside of us and what the energy actually means. So this book, Gods of Love and Ecstasy, is a very good book with Shiva and Dionysus. And y'all know I do the Shivatism crazy in the Patreon, right? Or we're coming back to it. Essentially, when you start reading these mythologies and these stories, you start to see that we've been tricked into giving out our seed too much. And that seed can bring forth a life, bring forth a reality, bring forth, some healing powers inside of you. And it's important to not fall victim to the animal, right? To not fall victim to your dog and really reverse it and fall victim or fall into your God, which is this book, Gods of Love and Ecstasy, right? And it just explains the love aspect and the ecstasy is one, right? Definitely want to read this. Very fire book. It'll just keep you entertained and in a zone of genius. And these books are all sexual books. Shiva, the wild god of power and ecstasy, right? Very important book. Y'all know all of this stuff is on the Egyptian walls. So understanding your sexual energy is going to help you out, fellas. Ecstasy through Tantra, don't have to say too much about this book. This book right here just explains what sex is in so many different forms and fashions. Yes, you can have sex for fun, but then and pleasure, but you can also have it to create in this world. Just like you bring forth a baby, you can create a reality. So I got sick and tired of being sick and tired of living in a particular way of, a worker. I didn't like working for people. I didn't really understand it. I can dig it and I can get with it, but just because I'm a chameleon and I can do that. But essentially, I had to, do my own thing, right? And just follow my own heart and my own purpose. So in order for me to do that, I had to understand my energy and transform my energy so I can start transforming my personality into my personal reality and what I'm seeing come forth. Shout out to Joe Dispenza.
So what I want to hear from you and even from y'all in the comments. So whenever we have an eclipse, a total lunar eclipse, this is also a new moon day, right? Which means this is a time of infinite potential where our intentions, our subconscious, deeply rooted desires gets aligned with our sun, our conscious mind, our ego, right? So I want to know from y'all, what is it that you are desiring right now? What is your intention? What is your new moon goal? What is your heart actually calling out for you? And how do you, and you don't have to ask this next part, but I want you to think about this. How do you balance out the desire that you have, which is new moon energy, which is feminine energy, right? That instinctual and intuitive kind of knowing that something is for you. How do you balance that out with your sun, your masculine, your logic, your consciousness? That's a question that you can ask for yourself, but I want to know in the comments, what is it that you are desiring, right? So like for Dream and I being here today on this eclipse, on this new moon, this is us taking a desire, right? Because we dreams and desires anyways, right? That's us. But we're taking the desire to continuously build together. And to not just build something that doesn't matter, but to build something that makes a difference in our lives holistically and the lives of others, right? We are taking that desire on this eclipse day and we are consciously acting on it by being here on this live stream right now.
Yeah, that's a fact, family. You see us and we're here, and y'all know I don't do nighttime. So, my bedtime is in an hour, and I'm literally like, all right, y'all niggas. But, I want to challenge myself and I want to move into a different space of, um, growth in the aspect of pursuing different opportunities, right? Shout out to one of our fairy godmothers, Miss Blue, right? We was on the phone with her for like 3 hours yesterday, and we was just building and diving deep and, laughing and understanding different energies and plays. And what I'm saying, she put us up on a lot of game. And when the fairy godmother gives us some game, oh boy, let's run it. You feel me? So naturally, what I want the family to look at and understand within themselves is that this thing is about action. Action speaks louder than words. When you say the words and when you do the subconscious programming, now it's time to beat them feet. Because again, if you're trying to get your reality in check, your root chakra in check, then you got to be about this earth thing. You got to be on this ground making moves. Because the miracle cannot happen without you putting your feet to the ground and making moves.
And that's the thing, like you'll receive those confirmations. Like the earth will show you if something is in alignment. And when I say the earth, I don't just mean nature, I mean your life experience, right? So like I said, Dream and I we've been having this conversation for months since we did the very first New Love Life event back in February of this year. Dream and I were having a conversation and say, okay, babe, we need to talk more together online. We need to have these conversations about spirituality, what that looks like in relationship, how to cultivate it, right? Because where a lot of y'all are right now in y'all's spiritual journey, right? Dream and I have been there while we were single and in our relationship. And so we have been talking about it for a while. And over the last week, we've gotten confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. And so that's the earth, that's the physical side, that's the manifestation really coming through and saying, listen, this ain't no joke. This is something that you need to do. And so I say that because I really want you to really reflect, like what has been going on in your life over the last few days or weeks where you've been having this internal nudge. That internal nudge, that is your moon. That is your intuitive side. That is the feminine side of you, which each and every one of us has both sides to us. So you've been having the nudge, you've been having the feel, right? I want to challenge you to actually reflect on that tonight. You may want to journal about this, meditate on this, but just really reflect on what is that inner feminine? What is that spiritual side of me asking of me right now to build, to create, and to act on?
Absolutely, right? Absolutely.
So, love that. Let's take some questions.
Yeah, let's see what we got here. What's up, Shakila, man? I didn't know that was you.
Hey, Shakila, girl.
Appreciate that, Shakila. Okay, right here. Yeah. What's up, Titus? How do you balance running it up while running into situationships along the way? How do you balance running it up?
Running it up, meaning get into his bag, right? Okay. Focusing on his abundance.
That's what you meant, Titus? Running it up while running into situationships along the way.
That's what I think that means.
I mean, I think essentially you just got to be player and honest. You feel me? So when I say player, I just mean honest. So naturally, when you're getting to your bag, essentially you got to be honest with the situationships or even relationships that you're in, right? Hey, look, I'm not here quite yet, but this is blah, 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 blah. You feel me? This is X, Y, and Z, right? You don't want to lie just based off of, now, I've done it. I've lied. I told a girl I was a PE teacher. Sure enough, I became a PE teacher. Crazy enough, I was telling her the whole
That's
time.
different. You was manifesting.
Right, I was manifesting. So shit, sometimes you do want to speak things into existence while you're pursuing it. But essentially, if you don't feel like committing to anybody, you know what I'm saying, just being honest and being real with them will take you a long way.
And it will create more respect too. I was talking about this in our New Love Life event that we just did on Lionsgate.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, you even have to explain to me where you were coming from in this experience. So, Dream had invited me out to eat on Christmas Eve. What a day to go out to eat with somebody that you're not in a relationship with. But it was Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. And on Christmas Eve, it was so random and so sweet. I really loved it. He literally just called me. I'm at my friend's house. He called and said, "Hey, I want to take you out to eat." Mm-hmm. I said, "Okay." We went out to eat. And while we're sitting out to eat, he like, I couldn't even be with you right now because this, and this. And I'm like, I didn't even know where that was coming from because it wasn't like we had a conversation prior to that about being together. But maybe you was checking for me before I realized it, which is why you kind of said that.
I was just being honest, you know what I'm saying? From where I was at in my life, I couldn't be with you. So I think me just speaking that honesty was a part of me saying, hey, I can't be with you just yet, but it is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's probably my subconscious or my higher self speaking to me without me even knowing, putting me in position to then, have a full, long, loving, married relationship with you. Yeah. So, sometimes this stuff is beyond us. You feel me? We think we're doing it, but there's something in the background that's actually running the show. And as this background is running the show, it's actually giving us clues and things that we said, damn, did I say that?
Yeah.
Damn, did I just do that?
Do you remember saying that?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah, I do.
Think you do?
I do. Yeah, I remember. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely. Creating increase. Hold on. Iman said, creating increased alignment with the energy of my North Node, being in Leo, so meaning putting myself out there more and facing spaces that may be uncomfortable, pursuing other opportunities. Iman, we see you doing your motherfucking
you doing
thing.
Your big one already.
I don't know
girl.
what
you
talking about,
in that
nigga.
Energy, girl.
You tapped in and turned
you
on.
You already doing
Keep
it, girl.
going, sis. You got it. You got it. Shout out to you, Fifth House. I appreciate the love. Appreciate the love, y'all. Going from workers to self-employed, or just owners. We are owners, family.
Founders.
Owners, Mr. C. Fifth House, appreciate you. Appreciate that. Desire Desiree's the confidence that I can own my business swung in alignment, create freedom and stability with it. Absolutely, Shaquila. Absolutely. We love it. We love it. What's up, Dre? That's you, Dre? I think that's Dre. I don't know why. I just got to fit. What's up, Tramel? What's good, baby? It go down. Y'all bringing it full circle from Mayday. I took a lot. Started applying the wisdom, holding, seeing you use that energy. Absolutely, God. Absolutely.
I'm so glad you said that, Tramel, because the 8/8 live stream that we did with Patreon, and then the conversation we had at the New Love Life event, and then going live with Miss Blue, all of that kind of brought us to this point right here. And I think, to me, one of the things that I want to really give you is continuously trusting yourself and trusting your process and trusting, the insights and the revelations that you've been receiving. And that really goes for all of you, even, Shaquila and Iman, with what y'all are saying. It's like there's this deep inner knowing. And what I will say is that it's so important for us to follow our passion, for us to follow the things that really bring us joy and really bring us pleasure. That's one of the major things we talked about during the 8/8 portal, right? Taking that sexual energy, which is a very powerful passionate, pleasure-filled energy and raising it up into something more divine and something more sacred.
Absolutely.
So I think if whatever you're pursuing does that for you and it causes no harm to others, right? It is increasing you and it's something that you could actually give back. It's like you just got to go for it.
And that's a big thing and a big piece, because even with my birthday guide, my birthday twin Kobe, his birthday or his energy all tying into this 8-8 energy, that 8-8-8, right? 8 month, 8 day, 8 plus 8 plus 20 26 is also eight. Add them all together, it's also eight. 8-8-8. And that's the triple goddess, that's knowledge, wisdom, understanding. That's all these different symbolic representations of the three, turning that three or that triangle or that diamond into one is 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24, which is the six, but also Kobe wore 24, which is a snake. Now, that snake or that Kundalini energy or that life force energy is important to understand from two different aspects. As we know, Kobe had a Mamba mentality, right? He was a snake, Mamba mentality. 8-8-8, his first number, all the way to the 24, right? The triple bypass, or the triple darkness of space, subconscious
Triple
mind.
bypass. What? Triple bypass. It can work. But it can work because the triple bypass is a heart surgery.
Well, I'm talking about the three different areas of your chakra. So your lower chakras,
or triple
your
bypass
heart,
the
and
lower
chakras.
The root, the sacral, and the solar. You want to triple bypass that and go to the heart. Okay.
You got three divine. You got three divine spiritual units. You got your higher self, or your lower self, with your lower three chakras. Your heart, which is the battery to this thing, and then your higher self, which is your upper seat chakra. So essentially, with Kobe being that snake, he's been through his trials and tribulations in the aspect of cheating. So that Kundalini energy can be used mentality wise, Mamba mentality wise, motivated, inspired, creating the world he wants, creating championships, winning, making a book, making this and that. When they got out of there, he was creating still, right? Or it could be used as destruction. Him cheating on his wife, him doing this and that, him apologizing. Even when after he did cheat, he still went back to it, right? And, just not understanding how to utilize and contain that energy. So it is important for us to understand these two different poles that we're dealing with when we're dealing with our sexual energy, the most powerful energy on the planet.
So let me ask you this. How does one overcome or integrate their darkness? Because we all have it, right? We all have the light and the dark. We all have the conscious, the subconscious. We all have, if we look at a tree, I heard Myron Golden say this. He said a tree is growing both upwards and downwards, right? Because roots are continuously growing deeper into the earth and expanding and spreading, but also the tree trunk and the leaves and all of these things are continuously growing upward, more so towards the light. So you got to learn to work with your darkness. You got to learn to work with the challenges or the shadow aspects of yourself. So in your experience, how have you learned to really work with that part of you that may be dark or lower natured or negative? How have you learned to actually work with that energy and use it as something that supports your light? Because this is when darkness meets light. This is the eclipse. Sometimes the darkness can overshadow the light, right? So how have you learned to manage that energy?
What's up, Will? What's good?
What's up, Will?
The shadow is something that you just got to embrace and understand through honesty. Like, this is all still going back to the heart. So, like, if you're not honest with yourself, that, what they say in the first in an AA meeting, you got to say, hey, I am an alcoholic. That I am is just acknowledging that I have a problem, right? Now, shadow aspects doesn't necessarily mean you have a problem, but you do have to get over the uncomfortable idea of you being something wrong, right? Because if you are putting negative connotations to, let's say, a porn addiction, right? You might never uh, fall into the space of seeing it what it was meant to teach you.
That's so good.
So yeah, so essentially you have to be able to embrace your shadow self. You have to be able to embrace them dark times. Like I tell you all the time, my story, I was a drug dealer, drug abuser, drug addict, right? And essentially in that reality, it actually enlivened me and moved me into another level of consciousness just based off of the highs that I felt, and the understanding of these highs was putting me in a different kind of mindset, in a different kind of space. So now all of a sudden I can either just be hiding it and saying, oh no, that was so bad, oh, like a church people, or I can embrace my experience and see how I can learn from that experience in order to enlighten my mind.
I feel that so deeply. What you just said is so powerful and so necessary to understand. To me, what I hear and what I feel you saying so deeply is that so many people have shame surrounding the negative experiences, beliefs, thought processes, and emotions that they hold. Because they have this negative perception of it, it doesn't allow them the space to use it for their growth, for their development, for their transformation. It's like that like a crazy movie or something. Like it's a bad kid that you just keep hitting in the closet, right? This bad thing that you keep in the background that you don't want to be seen or to be experienced. And something that Miss Blue has been saying is that self-love is the new shadow work. And so the real work is learning to embrace those aspects, those qualities about yourself, because within it is something beautiful. And so when I think about a shadow aspect of mine, right, that is actually a superpower, is I'm super sensitive. And that is all I kind of don't even like saying that, right? But it's true. Like I feel things deeply. When I listen to even us in a relationship, y'all, sometimes Dream will say something and I'm like, I don't like the way that felt. I don't like what I'm perceiving or what I'm receiving from you. Even if you may be speaking something that could be true, right? And that sensitivity was developed based off of childhood experiences where I needed to increase my psychic awareness. I needed to increase my ability to feel in order to keep myself safe. And for a long time, I kind of despised that or didn't like that. I didn't like that I was sensitive. I didn't like that a person could say something to me and it would hurt my feelings, right? I didn't like, feeling like I was easily triggered. But over the last few years, I've been coming to understand that level of sensitivity, that like wearing my heart on my sleeves, that is what allows me to show up in the way that I show up and speak on these platforms or do readings or really hold space for people. That level of sensitivity has allowed me to be able to sit with some really heavy stuff that other people may be carrying when they, talk to me.
I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. And that's a superpower. So sometimes these things we're seeing as flaws might be the superpower you need to run to. Because again, like you came down here to study these aspects of yourself. So when you get deeper into the study of it, now all of a sudden you start to realize that it wasn't a shadow aspect of all or something to hide from. It was something to embrace. and that embracing, it actually enlivens you. So yeah, shout out to you, babe. That's fire. That's fire.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, family. Hey, dreams and desires, baby. Dreams and desires, episode 1. Episode 1. We love and appreciate y'all, man. We love and appreciate y'all. We're gonna bring some more heat, some more fire. Be on, be on the lookout for some more of these nighttime bills, nighttime chat with us. And we'll see y'all when you see y'all. Peace to the gods.
Peace, fam.